Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. I'm stunned. I just made a whole video about James Harden's situation and where I think he should go, and the Clippers were one of the places I thought he should go, and the Clippers just made a huge move that kind of threw that whole option away. That's no longer an option. James Harden is not going to be traded for Paul George because Paul George just signed with the Los Angeles Clippers an extension for 5 years. Now, the dollar amount on that was not announced. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the $160 million range, something like that. Uh, we'll see. I don't know what that deal looks like. We'll see. But 5 years is what is being reported. And I'm so confused. He really had a very, very bad bubble. He's a player who had a really, really fantastic season prior to this season with the OKC Thunder. MVP candidate. I think it was one of his best individual years, but had a bad playoffs. Year before that, he had a bad playoffs. The year before that, if I'm not mistaken, he was nursing back from his leg, broken leg injury. So this is the guy they decided to give their future to. My thing is, you don't see an option for the landscape to improve to where you'll get a player in your midst that'll want to come to LA that you'll want to give that money to. like I look at the Clippers and what they just did with Marcus Morris, and I said, okay, that was a waste of money. And then I look up and I say, wow, they really just did that. This is why it's so important. And they say Jerry West. I don't know where Jerry West is in all of this. Obviously, they're not listening to him. He would never tell them to do this. Let's just make this very clear. This is definitely not a Jerry West thing. And this don't even seem like a Lawrence Frank thing. I don't know what the Clippers are doing this offseason, but I can tell you this. They're not good enough going forward to win a championship. And they're putting themselves in a position to where it looks like they're not going to be able to get good enough. And, I don't feel nothing about it. I'm a Laker fan, but this is just goes to show you why it's very, very important to have people in place that make good decisions with your cap. Don't get me wrong, Paul George is a fantastic talent, but where he's going to be over the next 5 years, it's not probably good to lock him up with that much guaranteed money based on his injury history and his poor play in the playoffs. I understand that you're the Clippers and you gave away a lot to get him, so you're going all in to make that not be a mistake. But it is a mistake. And paying him is an even greater mistake. You're doubling down on your mistakes, believing in Paul George as if he's some type of player that he's not. We all understand that you're the Clippers, that you're dealing with the Lakers winning a championship and embarrassing the hell out of you and having you not even show up when they were sitting there waiting for the playoffs. We understand that you all collapsed and you figured, hey, we're all losers together. Let's just keep at it. We're all determined to turn this thing around. Let's see if we can get a championship. And look, in one of those 5 years, maybe you get lucky, but that's literally what you're looking at. What you're actually signing up for is to get terrorized by Anthony Davis and LeBron James over the next 5 years. That's what you just signed up for. You think Paul George is going to have any chance against Anthony Davis and LeBron James at any given point going forward? I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. Do we really think that? Of course not. No. He's going to be second every single year, no matter what's going on. This is just a loser's decision by a losing organization. Call it like it is. This is somebody who, all things considered, they should be looking to trade. And they just locked him up with probably a third of their cap. Clipper behavior. This is what I always say. This is why I never rooted for the Clippers to begin with as a real considering fan. Because they never ever made good enough decisions to ever compete with the Lakers at any given point. I'm sitting up looking at my Lakers enjoying championship success while they continue to let good talent go. And when they finally do get good enough to make it so that they're in an attractive situation, they lock themselves up with talent that's been underachieving since they got there. I mean, what are we talking about, Clippers? What are we talking about? Paul George is at the butt of everyone's jokes, and you're going to lock him up for 5 years. Marcus Morris is a solid vet, but has underachieved since he left Boston, basically. And you lock him up for 4 years. What are you doing? Trez walks out the door, goes down the hall to my squad. What are you doing? You trading away role players that you picked up. Okay, fine. You bring in Luke Kennard. Okay, I like him. You bring in Serge Ibaka. He's your answer to what the Lakers are doing? You know how old Serge is, right? This is not OKC Serge you're getting going forward. JaMychal Green walks out the door, goes to a rival too. I mean, what are we talking about, Clippers? You still don't have a point guard. While you're locking Paul George up for 5 years, you don't have anybody to get him to rock. As a Laker fan, I'm happy. But as someone who appreciates the league, I just look at this and say, wow, another fan base is just going to have to suffer some bullshit because of inept general managing, basically. Like, let's just call it what it is. And it's not just limited to the NBA. You see it in the NFL as well. You see it in other sports as well. When the management doesn't do what it's supposed to, make smart decisions, fan bases suffer. They're the ones that have to sit back and watch their team lose every year. Talk they crap, but end up having to eat their words because they have pride, but the team just isn't good enough. That's why I appreciate my franchise. I really do. I appreciate them. You know, they never make me feel like we ain't gonna come back and win someday. You know what I mean? Even when we were making bad decisions, you felt like, okay, she's gonna find a way to get her brother out. You knew while he was in there acting a fool that Jeanie was in there trying to fight behind the scenes to get rid of him. Like, that was the feeling. Like, okay, we're gonna get rid of this guy, and then we never thought that he was gonna be. I mean, most real fans never actually thought that was the end. We didn't, because we knew we had the right people in place that gave enough of a damn about the franchise to eventually they were gonna make a way to get great again. And here we are, champions. But the championship path that we took wasn't without some of the mistakes. You know, we're still paying for the Luol Deng contract. You know, Zubac was just boneheaded. You know, just stupid. A lot of stuff that we did. The Lonzo Ball draft pick wasn't probably the greatest idea. Even though I was a great Zoe fan, it still am. That wasn't a good decision. We should have taken several other guys ahead of him. So, here we are. The Los Angeles Clippers have signed Paul George to a 5-year contract. I don't know the framework on the deal. I'm sure he's happy and his family's happy. They get to stay in LA. You know, much richer today. Got guaranteed money. All that's great for him. You know, congratulations to him and his family. But as far as what the Clippers are doing for themselves, this is just a shot in the forehead. Like, what are you doing? Is this supposed to make Kawhi Leonard want to then sign an extension? Maybe he does, since they're giving money away. Lord knows he needs some security in this league with his knees being as they are. It would be great for him to sign a 5-year deal right about now. In fact, I wonder if they offered him that. That's a very interesting place, you know, this goes, where this conversation goes from here. Did they offer him that extension as well? If so, is he going to sign it? Did he decline already to sign it? Did they not offer it? That is all really interesting to me. The fact that Paul George signs an extension that Kawhi doesn't, as of this moment, is interesting to me. So I'm sure there's going to be more to tell about that. But yeah, this looks stupid to me. I'm not going to front, y'all. This is one of the dumbest signings. I mean, next to the Gordon Hayward signing, this is the worst one. Those are the two worst signings in the league right now, if you ask me, like of this offseason. There may be another. I think some people would say Jeremy Grant as well. I like Jeremy Grant, but that contract's crazy. It's a few others, but these are the two worst. And I just don't see Paul George getting any better than this. He's about as good as he's gonna get. Yeah, whatever. Go Lakers. Thanks for watching. My name is BDF44. I'm out.